This is The Lost Lake by Alan Say. What do you see on the cover? Based on the picture and the title, what do you think that this book might be about? The Lost Lake by Alan Say. I went to live with Dad last summer. Every day he worked in his room from morning to night, sometimes on weekends too. Dad wasn't much of a talker, but when he was busy he didn't talk at all. I didn't know anybody in the city, so I stayed home most of the time. It was too hot to play outside anyway. In 1 month I finished all the books I'd brought and grew tired of watching TV. One morning I started cutting pictures out of old magazines, just to be doing something. There were pictures of mountains and rivers and lakes, and some showed people fishing and canoeing. Looking at them made me feel cool, so I pinned them up in my room. Dad didn't notice them for 2 days. When he did, he looked at them one by one. "Nice pictures," he said. "Are you angry with me, Dad?" I asked, because he saved old magazines for his work. "It's all right, Luke," he said. "I'm having this place painted soon anyway." He thought I was talking about the marks I'd made on the wall. Who are the main characters? They don't seem to have a close relationship. Go ahead and turn and talk to your partner as to why you think that might be. That Saturday, Dad woke me up early in the morning and told me that we were going camping. I was wide awake in a second. He gave me a pair of brand new hiking boots to try out. They were perfect. In the hallway, I saw a big backpack and a knapsack all packed and ready to go. "What's in them, Dad?" I asked. "Later," he said. "We have a long drive ahead of us." In the car, I didn't ask any more questions because Dad was so grumpy in the morning. "Want a sip?" he said, handing me his mug. He'd never let me drink coffee before. It has tons of sugar in it. "Where are we going?" I finally asked. "We're off to the Lost Lake, my lad." "How can you lose a lake?" "No one's found it, that's how." Dad was smiling. "Grandpa and I used to go there a long time ago. It was our special place, so don't tell any of your friends." "I'll never tell," I promised. "How long are we going to stay there?" 5 days, maybe a week." "We're going to sleep outside for the whole week?" "That's the idea." Oh boy. They both seem excited about the camping trip. Let's see how it goes. We got to the mountain in the afternoon. "It's a bit of a hike to the lake, son," Dad said. "I don't mind." "Are there any fish in the lake?" "Hope so. We'll have to catch our dinner, you know." "You didn't bring any food?" "Of course not. We're going to live like true outdoorsmen." "Oh." Dad saw my face and started to laugh. He must have been joking. I didn't think we were going very far anyway, because Dad's pack was so heavy I couldn't even lift it. Well, Dad was like a mountain goat. He went straight up the trail, whistling all the while. But I was gasping in no time. My knapsack got very heavy, and I started to fall behind. Dad stopped for me often, but he wouldn't let me take off my pack. If I did, I'd be too tired to go on, he said. It was almost supper time when we got to the lake. The place reminded me of the park near Dad's apartment. He wasn't whistling or humming anymore. "Welcome to the found lake," he muttered from the side of his mouth. "What's wrong, Dad?" "Do you want to camp with all these people around us?" "I don't mind." "Well, I do." "Are we going home?" "Of course not." He didn't even take off his pack. He just turned and started to walk away. How does Dad react when they find the lost lake? Why do you think he reacts that way? Soon, the lake was far out of sight. Then, it started to rain. Dad gave me a poncho and it kept me dry, but I wondered where we were going to sleep that night. I wondered what we were going to do for dinner. I wasn't sure about camping anymore. Now I was glad when Dad finally stopped me and set up the tent. The rain and wind beat against it, but we were warm and cozy inside, and Dad had brought food. For dinner we had salami and dried apricots. "I'm sorry about the lake, Dad," I said. He shook his head. "You know something, Luke? There aren't any secret places left in the world anymore." "What if we go very far up in the mountains? Maybe we can find our own lake." "There are lots of lakes up here, but that one was special." "But we've got a whole week, Dad." "Well, why not? Maybe we'll find a lake that's not on the map." "Sure we will." It's been a long day for Luke and his dad. How would you say their camping trip is going so far? What's going well and what isn't? Go ahead and turn and talk to your partner about that. What's going well on their trip and what isn't going well? We started early in the morning. When the fog cleared, we saw other hikers ahead of us. Sure enough, Dad became very glum. "We're going cross country, partner," he said. "Won't we get lost?" "A wise man never leaves home without his compass." So we went off the trail. The hills went on and on. The mountains went on and on. It was kind of lonesome, and it seemed as if Dad and I were the only people left in the world. And then we hiked into a big forest. Look at the pictures on both pages. What do you notice about them? Why do they look so different? At noontime, we stopped by a creek and ate lunch and drank ice-cold water straight from the stream. I threw rocks in the water. The fish, like shadows, darted in the pools. "Isn't this a good place to camp, Dad?" "I thought we were looking for our lake." "Yes, right," I mumbled. The forest went on and on. I don't mean to scare you, son, but we're in bear country. We don't want to surprise them, so we have to make a lot of noise. If they hear us, they'll just go away." What a time to tell me! I started to shout as loudly as I could. Even Dad wouldn't be able to beat off bears. I thought about those people having fun back at the lake. I thought about the creek, too, with all those fish in it. That would have been a fine place to camp. The lost lake hadn't been so bad either. It was dark when we finally got out of the forest. We built a fire, and that made me feel better. Wild animals wouldn't come near a fire. Dad cooked beef stroganoff, and it was delicious. Later, it was bedtime. The sleeping bag felt wonderful. Dad and I started to count the shooting stars. Then I worried that maybe we weren't going to find our lake. "What are you thinking about, Luke?" Dad asked. "I didn't know you could cook like that," I said. Dad laughed. "That was only freeze-dried stuff. When we get home, I'll cook you something really special." "You know something, Dad? You seem like a different person up here." "Better or worse?" "A lot better." "How so?" "You talk more." "I'll have to talk more often then." That made me smile. Then I slept. Dad shook me awake. The sun was coming up, turning everything all gold and orange and yellow. And there was the lake right in front of us. For a long time we watched the light change on the water, getting brighter and brighter. Dad didn't say a word the whole time, but then I didn't have anything to say either. After breakfast, we climbed a mountain and saw our lake below us. There wasn't a sign of people anywhere. It really seemed as if Dad and I were alone in the world. I liked it just fine. What do you think of the end of the story? Does it seem like they had a happy ending? Now, one last question. This story was told from Luke's point of view. How do you think that it would be different if the story was told from Dad's point of view?